So make yourself comfortable, closing your eyes, make any of those micro adjustments that you need to make to your body to allow yourself to go into a nice, deep state of relaxation. Now is an opportunity to let go of all the things that you have going on in your daily life. And imagine yourself disconnecting from all those things, like you're pulling the plug on situations or for people that you have things going on with. Just for now, we will return to normal everyday waking life when we're done here. So give yourself permission to just let go of whatever's going on in the world right now, because this is your opportunity to reset. So give yourself that opportunity so that you can go back out into the world and be 1,000% of who you're meant to be and do the things that you are meant to do. Begin to throw all of the breath into the body, watching the breath move into the body and noticing whether it's the chest that rises and falls with each breath or it's the belly that rises and falls with each breath. Just notice yourself breathing, connected to that breath. And that is the breath of life. It is the thing that connects you to your body. And so allow yourself to feel that connection. Breathing into the body is not just breathing into the lungs, because every breath sets off a chain reaction of events of oxygenating your blood and your blood oxygenating the rest of your body and bringing that oxygen to all of the cells of the body, and then ushering carbon dioxide back through the heart from all parts of the body back to the lungs where it can be expelled. So every breath is actually a connection to your entire body. Imagine that you're breathing in and out through your entire body. Feel that connection. Now tonight we're going to be playing in the element of water. And so imagine the room that you're in right now. Imagine that all of the doors and windows are sealed and the room that you're in is filling with water. It doesn't matter where it's coming from. Just imagine it's this wonderfully tepid water. And as the room is filling, you can feel the water starting to hit the bottom of your body. The first part that is closest to the floor, whether it's your feet or whether you're laying down. And you know how it feels when you have that level of water that's hitting the surface of your skin, separating the part of you that's submerged and the part of you that's not. You've all had that experience, like in a bathtub, where you can feel that line, that division of the surface of the water along the surface of your skin. Imagine you can feel that now. And there's almost no separation between the temperature of the water and the temperature of your body. So it feels like you're just laying in the perfect temperature. If you've ever been in a sensory deprivation tank, you know what I'm talking about, where you can just feel yourself floating on the surface of the water. But it's really hard to know where you end and where you begin, because the water is the same temperature as your body, but you can kind of feel where that line is along the surface of your skin. So that room that you're in is filling up. It's filling up with that water, and you can feel the line of the surface of your skin and the depth of your body in the water slowly being submerged. And it's very peaceful because it's so weightless. It's weightless, and there's no temperature variant. So just feel what that's like. Because eventually the water gets to a point where you are now floating in it. You're floating in the water that's filling up in the room. And it's so peaceful because your body's just laying there, totally at peace. And you know that you're connected to the rest of the planet through the water, Because after all, water is 70% of the planet, and water is 70% of your body. So that means that water is 70% of life. And you're connected to that interface between you and the planet, floating on this beautiful liquidy substance that's causing you to float, sustaining you, not letting you sink. And it's so interesting the way that that is. And you can feel yourself connected to Mother Earth. She is 70% water, as you are 70% water. It's interesting because death is really not just the heart not beating, it's not just not taking in any oxygen. It's really when the entire body decays. And the body decays because of a lack of water. So just think about how you're totally sustained by this element of fluidity, of vapor, of mass when it's frozen. And then that fourth element, that fourth stage of water, the interface of electrical charge. Fourth phase of water. And that's why your brain works the way that it does, because of that fourth phase of water, that electrical conductivity. So just breathe into bringing the element of air into your connection to the element of water. Let these two elements coexist together in you. And that element of air is the connection to consciousness itself. And consciousness is the great intelligence. It's really the vehicle for data, information that travels through the universe. You are informed through the element of air. So breathe that into your element of water. Connected to the planet. Connected to that invisible mind that you can't see, but you can experience it. It's giving you the capacity to think, to have thoughts, to imagine. Now, that room that you were once in which you were submerged in water, has now become a large lake. A beautiful large lake, and you're floating in it. Not because you have a body, but because you actually are water. Imagine that you are the element of water. And this lake is sitting on the precipice of a great cliff that falls down into a valley below. It's not like a big waterfall, though. It's like a small trickle. Imagine that you are now the element of water in a small trickle flowing over the rocks of this cliff out of the lake. You are like drops, small drops, sliding down the cliff face, falling onto rocks below. You can see all of the lichen, the moss that has grown over the centuries on this cliff face from this lake above. As each of the drops that you are, because you're not just one drop, you're many drops, some adhering to the sides of the cliff face on the lichen and the moss, some splattering and becoming smaller drops on the rocks below, some getting wedged into little crevices where a new plant life is growing. You're falling, but you are sustained. And you may find yourself falling into a crevice. And there may be other matter, other earth element based matter having been caught in dust storms, creating little crevices filled with dirt and more lichen and more moss, until a seed blown in the wind wedges itself into the crevice. And there it is, next to you, this seed, and you are the water that is going to cause the shell of that seed to crack open, and new life sprouts forth. And now you find yourself merging in with this new life that is just beginning its journey to be an actual plant. First, a little shoot breaks through, and then next some roots begin to form, and you are the food, the life force for this, because you are the water. And the new shoot reaches toward the sun, which you can see actually shining out in the distance. And the roots make their way into the crevice where other soil has lodged, and the seasons begin to change. It's getting hotter and hotter, and this is invigorating this new shoot to grow longer and produce more leaves, and it's still relying upon you to sustain it. You are the water, the life force. And the sun, hotter and hotter, inspires this new shoot to grow a blossom. And that blossom is reaching out into the sun, and I don't know what color it is, but you know. And as it gets hotter and hotter, that blossom opens fully toward the sun. But no matter how much water you're able to give it, it eventually will begin to wither. And as the season moves on, it dries up and produces more seeds. And as the average temperature becomes colder and colder, those seeds begin to solidify. And then eventually those leaves begin to drop off. And the plant begins to shrink back, and it begins to drop its seeds down into the valley floor below. And as it gets colder and colder, the days going by, the clouds move in, and there's more and more rain, and the lake above you begins to fill. And suddenly, water begins to rush over the sides of the rocks, creating a little waterfall, because the lake is overflowing. But eventually, the days become so cold that the lake freezes over. It's very, very cold now, and you're experiencing a new kind of water, the frozen water, where water becomes matter, closest that it becomes to the element of earth. So you experience yourself getting cold, but it's a time of quiet. And I want you to notice, as it gets colder and colder, as the season moves further and further into the winter, how you become more and more still. Experience what this quietude is like within you. Find that place in which the winter exists inside of you. This beautiful silence. A beautiful stillness. An ever-present peace. What a beautiful and tranquil feeling this is. There's no work, no effort, just a presence of being. And as the seasons continue to move on, you imagine the clouds parting, the sun breaking through, the days getting warmer, and then the rain comes, and it begins to melt all the ice and snow. And the sun becomes more brilliant, more bright. And the lichens and the mosses begin to wake up. And the sounds change. You might hear the crackling of ice as it's melting. You might hear the faint chirping of birds. New life is being breathed in, and it's filling the space in which you are. You find it easier now to discover that parts of you, the water that you are, dripping further down the rock face, down to the valley below. And the melt has created a more substantial waterfall, and you are filling a beautiful little pool at the bottom of the falls. As more water is rushing down, you can hear the sound of it. You can feel the motion, the movement. Things are waking up. You're feeling alive. New life is beginning once again. And you look up, all the way up to the top, where that lake overflows. And as the season again begins to move, you notice the plants begin to grow on the sides of the cliff face once again. And you make a relationship of this pattern to your own life. Your normal, everyday human beingness that sees the cycles not as just seasons, but as methods of understanding the process that all nature goes through. And you are a part of nature, and you yourself have these seasons. And you may reflect upon what season you find yourself in right now in your own life. Not because you have to change anything, not because you have to do anything, but you can be observant of what's going on. in your life that is needing attention and what season it might be in right now, to give you more of a concept, a framework by which to make decisions. Does it make sense to be putting things into action when you're hibernating in the winter? Does it make sense to be calm and do nothing in a time where the seeds that you've planted are trying to sprout? It's just a way of looking at everything that is going on in your life. And so you might examine a place that you would like to shift your focus of action or inaction so that it's more appropriate to what you're doing in your life. Especially as it relates to something that you are trying to create or something that you're trying to heal. So I invite you now to call in your spirit helpers and ask them to provide you with their perspective on what's going on with you, and just be open to information that you need to receive right now. Empty your mind, empty your opinions and your thoughts, and just let your spirit helpers inform you about the seasons of your life, what you are working on or not working on, how to make things more appropriate, especially as it relates to your health and well-being. And when you get the information, however it is that you receive it, imagine that you're storing it someplace where it's really obvious for you to review, to see, to re-examine at any time, because we don't want this to get lost in the shuffle. Imagine attaching it to something in your house, so that when you see that thing in your house, you'll remember the information that you received today. And then when you're ready, ask your spirit helpers to bring in more love and light into your body-mind, using the breath as the vehicle, breathing in more love and light and sending that love and light to every part of the body. So that your entire body is filling up with love and light, starting in the toes and the feet and the ankles, moving up the shins and the calves to the knees, moving up through your thighs and hamstrings to your hips, filling your entire waist, moving up through your abdominal region, going up into the chest, filling your hands, your forearms, your elbows, triceps and biceps, your shoulders, breathing in more love and light, filling your heart and lungs and all the internal organs, breathing up through your neck and your head, filling your entire being. As you breathe in more, and if your body's already filled up, then allow it to spill out into the field that surrounds your body, so that you're radiating love and light, pulsing with your breath and your heartbeat. And then that love and light spills out into the world, flooding the entire planet with love and light.